The origin of what is now Vietnam was annexed by France. Within 20 years, the whole of modern Vietnam had become itself engaged in another war. Some 15 million people with ancient culture. 95% are lowlanders of northern origin, but intermingled with other immigrants from the surrounding areas. And the balance, highlanders of confused racial mixtures. There you have the cast. And the time is now. But what is America's part in this story? Perhaps we may find the answer in the ringing words of Franklin Delano Roosevelt. There is a mysterious cycle in human events. To some generation, much is given. Of other generations, much is expected. This generation of Americans has a rendezvous with destiny. And we have come to another rendezvous. The origin of this rendezvous is complex. It begins perhaps in 1863, when the first province of what is now Vietnam was annexed by France. Within 20 years, the whole of modern Vietnam had become a French protectorate. The urge for national independence, which never died, emerged in force towards the end of World War II, and the communists took advantage of it. Thus, the returning French army found itself engaged in another war. But this was a war without front lines, and to many soldiers, seemingly a war without end. But on May 7th, 1954, with the fall of Dien Bien Phu, the so-called Indochina War did come to an end. A termination which left the new nation divided between a communist North and an anti-communist South. As the military forces of the communist North, the Viet Cong, began to infiltrate the South in ever-increasing numbers, the situation called for a major decision by the United States. Here was a government on our side, ruling a country with some of the world's richest rice fields and a strategic location affecting the whole of Southeast Asia. What began as a revolution for national independence had been converted into another battlefield of the Cold War through the coercive terror and false promises of communism. (1961) was the critical year, and our decision was that the anti-communist portion of Vietnam must get our full support. And so we came to Vietnam, Americans from the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, the Marine Corps, and civilians too, to advise and assist the government of South Vietnam. We face a rugged environment harboring an invisible enemy. Swamps, mountain, and jungle provide the communist with an almost impregnable fortress. The native population, persuaded by false promises or stricken with terror, becomes the enemy's human shield. And too often, the stolen fruits of their hard labor become the enemy's principal line of supply. This is a war being fought in fragments. An attack here, an ambush there. Yet like a broken mirror, each fragment reflects the enemy's total plan. A war fought in the territory of our friends, the Vietnamese, with supplies and conscripts drawn from their own people to last as long as necessary to exhaust them from within. And then, when the time is right, a massive assault from without to furnish the coup de grace.